This is Professor Joe, your education advocate, and our topic is Introduction to Epistemology. I owe some ideas from Vincent Potter in his book On Understanding Understanding and from Gary Kessler in Voices of Wisdom. Both are textbooks in philosophy. Let me begin this with definitions. Epistemology comes from two Greek words, episteme, which means knowledge, and logos, which means theory or study. Hence, epistemology is a study of knowledge. Vincent Potter, in 1994, in his book Understanding Understanding, defined epistemology as that branch of philosophy that determines the nature and scope of a person's capacity or drive to know. Potter emphasizes the capacity of knowing within a person himself. So we should not ask this question, do we know? Because this question puts into doubt our capacity to know. Do we know? Implies also that this question is answerable by yes or no. If we say yes, we affirm that we know, and if we say no, our no answer comes from knowing itself. So by asking do we know, we only contradict ourselves. The right question, however, in epistemology should be, how is knowing possible? How do I know? Are there conditions for me to know? Let me expand this topic by exploring two main epistemological theories, empiricism and rationalism. Empiricism is an epistemological theory that says knowledge comes through experience. Our senses are a gateway to experience something. For empiricists, our mind is tabula rasa, meaning it has nothing on it since birth, or it is an empty tablet. John Locke has this view in his epistemology. These ideas can come to us through experience, either by sensation or reflection. Sensation is the experience of things outside us, and by reflection, an experience of something from within, like feelings and emotions. For empiricists, knowledge is also a posteriori, meaning it comes after experience, that idea that we cannot know something until we experience it through the senses. This epistemological theory utilizes inductive method to draw a conclusion, in which particular individual experiences can contribute to support the conclusion. Rationalism is an epistemological theory that says that reason is the source of knowledge. Our intellect or our mind provides ideas embedded since birth. Call them innate ideas, ideas built into the mind since birth. We may have some sense of taste in our tongue, a sense of distance, a sense of quality and quantity. All of these categories of the mind may have already been there since birth, and we develop them as we encounter them in real-life experiences. The rationalists call this kind of knowledge a priori knowledge, a knowledge before or independent of experience. Our intellect in this theory serves as a gateway to knowing. The rationalists utilize the deductive approach in concluding. The deduction method applies general principles and assumes them as true and valid in the conclusion. An example of this general rule is that whatever I throw upward goes down. This is always true in certain truth while we are in the sphere of the earth where gravity is possible. We may ask, who has the correct theory of knowing, the empiricists or the rationalists? Often in epistemology, we are constantly confronted with doubt and uncertainty in matters of conclusion or in matters of possibility. This belongs to skepticism. What is skepticism? Skepticism is an epistemological position wherein the knower is in the context of doubt or need to suspend judgment. There are many reasons to doubt and to suspend judgment. One is that the data sought are not available, insufficient, and incomplete. Skepticism comes from the Greek word skeptemi. The word skeptemi means to reflect, to consider, or to examine. This word makes sense when we encounter doubt. We suspend our judgment to have time for reflection, consideration, and re-examination. There are three kinds of skepticism in the study of epistemology. First, there is a kind of skepticism called common sense skepticism. It is a healthy kind of skepticism that allows us to suspend judgment in whatever we do, because by common sense, we do not allow it to happen. Say I'm preparing for breakfast, and I find old food has molds and off smell. So by common sense, I will not serve and eat that food. The second is methodical skepticism, which is often used by philosophers and scientists in their search for truth. Researchers usually doubt their data and continue some further research and experimentation to finalize the conclusion. The third kind is absolute skepticism. A doubt that doubts the possibility of knowledge itself. This is unhealthy because it doubts everything, including this statement. This was advocated by Pyrrho of Eleusis in 300 BCE with the phrase, everything is doubtful. Epistemology examines the various nuances of to know. To know has four senses or nuances. First, to know as familiarity. This kind of to know applies to persons, things, or places that we have in contact with. Say, I know Houston, Texas, because I live here. I know Germany because I was there in 1999. To know means familiarity, because I have had some encounters or contact with them. For my students, you can say, I know Professor Joe because you have contact with Professor Joe because you're under in his class. The second meaning to know is awareness of something. You may use the word to know without direct experience, encounter, or contact with the things, places, and persons. You can say, I know Elon Musk. I know Jeff Bezos. I know Donald Trump, even though I have no meeting with these people. To know in this sense is just awareness. The third meaning is to know as skill or know-how. You may say, I know how to drive, I know how to cook, I know how to dance. They refer to skills or know-how in dealing with some issues. Now remember this. The three nuances above, familiarity, awareness, and know-how, are not epistemological in nature. They are not the problem of epistemology because of the statements above, like I know Houston, I know Professor Joe, I know Elon Musk, I know Jeff Bezos, I know Donald Trump. They are not propositions. They are not assertions of something about something. They are not claims about something, and they do not demand judgments. They have no truth value of either true or false. Say, I know Elon. So what? It did not ask me to evaluate or to judge. The fourth kind of to know is epistemological, to know that. To know that implies an asserted proposition, asserting something to be true or false. It asserts about the thing, person, or place with a commitment or conviction to be true or false. Say that Joe is a faithful husband, that Joe is handsome, that Elon Musk is irresponsible, that Donald is generous. All these are called that statements. They assert something, and they demand judgment to be true or false. So only the propositional statements are considered epistemological. Remember this, not all statements are propositions. Some are. Only proposition demands judgment. So let us discuss what judgment is. Judgment is an act of accepting or rejecting a proposition. It is to affirm or deny a proposition or assertion. What is needed to have a justified judgment? We need evidence or proof that supports our judgment. In the absence of proof, we fall into the unjustified claim. It is just an opinion. An option is not considered knowledge. So what is knowledge? Knowledge is defined as justified truth claim. Knowledge involves three important elements. First, there must be a claim or belief. A claim or belief is a firm conviction about something you assert as true, and you make a commitment or conviction about it as true. So, it has truth value. It may also be false or untrue. Second, the belief is believed to be true because you believed it was true. Third, your truth claim has some evidence to prove it true. If without evidence, it is mere opinion. Knowledge must include the three elements above to warrant the statement. Without evidence, element number 3, it can be called opinion. There are two kinds of knowledge in epistemology. The first kind is self-evident knowledge. This knowledge is from the analytic proposition. To establish self-evident knowledge, statements must be self-evident and must have the following. 1. The subject and predicate are one and the same. 2. It is always true by definition. 3. No need for verification to be true. 4. There cannot be a possible contradiction. If you do, it entails a logical contradiction. Some examples are, all fat cats are fat, and the sum of 2 plus 2 is 4. Biology is the study of life. The second kind of knowledge is synthetic proposition. Knowledge of this kind comes from verification. Statements to be true need verification or evidence. The synthetic statement can have truth values as either true or false. To spot a synthetic proposition is by looking at the subject and predicate of the sentence. 1. The subject and predicate do not belong to each other. 2. The statement is not necessarily true by definition. 3. The truthfulness lies in verification. 4. There can be a possible contradiction in the meaning or value of the statement. Some examples. The candy is sweet, Mary is beautiful. The janitor is honest. The bathroom is dirty. To affirm or deny these example statements needs verification. The way to verify is to find evidence. What is the evidence then? Evidence is the property of the person making an assertion. Etymologically, evidence comes from the two Latin words videre, which means to see, and the prefix e, which means out of or arising from. So evidence in this sense means arising from what is seen or out of seeing. So evidence is what we can see from a distance. It can be verified in the state of affairs. Evidence is what supports the proposition or what makes the proposition or assertion clear and manifest. Evidence also needs to be adequate, meaning necessary and sufficient. Any inadequate evidence provide no warrant to the claim, and the claim can become an opinion. Let me turn your focus on certitude this time. Certitude is another property of the agent making an assertion or from the person claiming it. Someone can say, I am certain. This statement implies a commitment that the claim has a warrant of certitude. There are kinds of certitude in epistemology. The first kind is absolute certitude, when there is no possibility of error. It can be found in the following propositions. It can be found in 1. Analytically true propositions when the statement is self-evident and the statement has no possibility of contradiction. Example, 2 plus 2 equals 4. This proposition, when denied, would entail a logical contradiction. Or to say that man is a rational being. This is also an analytic statement. To deny this would be a logical contradiction. You cannot say that man is not a rational animal, or 2 plus 2 is not 4. 2. Another absolutely certain statement is from some synthetically true proposition, in which a proposition whose denial entails a performative contradiction. Some examples are, I think I exist and I am. They are some examples of synthetically true statements. They are not analytical but self-evident statements. There are no contradictions. If denied, they entail performative contradiction. I cannot say, I am not thinking, or I do not exist, or I am not. 3. The last absolutely certain statement is from the conditional certitude statement. It is an absolutely certain statement because the meaning is true and valid, provided that the conditional is present. In the absence of this condition, the statement is no longer certain, so the condition is necessary for the statement to be true. An example, whatever I throw upward goes down. This statement is certainly true, but conditionally. The condition is simply that I must be in the sphere of the earth for this statement to be true, in the presence of the law of gravity. I hope I have provided you with some basics of epistemology and that it can help you prepare for deeper epistemological study. Thanks for watching. Please support my advocacy. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel.